Hey, what's up guys, Diplex here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2 and another battle. This one is going to be even crazier than the previous video. It's going to feature more mods and more unit variety than the World War I versus World War II video did, so it's going to be pretty good. Yes, that's exactly what it's going to be. I've even titled, watch this, the map name is crazy. Look top right. Crazy is crazy, man. I gotta remember what we're doing here, and I can't just call it a battle or something like that. I mean, I have like 100 maps in my storage, but crazy. That brings this to mind, and it reminds me of what we're doing. So yes, it's about to be pretty intense. Also, on another good note, did you catch what I was doing there when I said they're pretty good? One of my favorite series was actually renewed recently, and I just saw episode 1 of season 9. And right down below if you can guess what it is. It's a comedy show, super fun, love the main character, love the whole idea of it, and the conversations and the arguments he gets into. It's just me in a nutshell too. I'd react the same way to most of the things he reacts to, so it's just fun. Anyway, let's get on with it, and I'm going to try and keep a really positive outlook and mindset today because a very tragic event actually developed in Las Vegas during the night here. I actually stayed up all night watching and keeping an eye on what was happening there just to get an idea of what was going on, and it's absolutely disastrous. It's gutting, it's disgusting, it's sad, and it's just terrible in general, and I'm curious to hear more about the situation, but I just wanted to, honestly, here in Sweden, just say that there's been hundreds of people affected, if not thousands, because of everyone's relatives and friends and whatnot. It could be tens of thousands, who knows? And I just wanted to extend my deepest thoughts. The older I get, the more gutted and disgusted I am by these things that I hear happening and seeing, you know, all these horrible things going on in the world, and it's just very morbid, and well, I didn't really want it to bring down the video, so I wasn't going to talk about it a lot, but I wanted to actually mention it. I couldn't stop myself from even mentioning it. But yes, on another note, let's get into what we're doing today, whatever it is that actually makes this battle so crazy. We're doing a 10-faction free-for-all. That's right, a 10-faction free-for-all using mods like World War II, World War III, and Star Wars Galaxy at War. So there's going to be a lot of things going on. So team number 1, currently occupying the city, the first team to be deployed will be World War II Germany. Yes? They are preparing for team 2 that will enter through the town, and that will hopefully be ambushed by the Germans waiting for them, which is modern-day Russia. Team 3 will be arriving after them, which is modern-day America. U.S. Army Rangers, to be more exact. Let me see if I can actually remember what we're doing here. Team 4, I do believe, is... Yes, I am actually correct, because I remember now. Team 4 is Imperial Stormtroopers, the Blizzard Force, to be more exact. So the Empire, that is, in other words. Team number 5... rebels, your generic Eastern European anti-governmental rebels, whatever you want to call them. That's what they are. Team number 6, I do believe we're on 6 now, yes. Germany, modern-day Germany, Bundeswehr, jawohl. That'll be cool too. Team number 7, we're on 7, right? Yes, we should be. The rebels, good old Star Wars rebels, the Rebel Alliance, coming in hot to fight the perhaps alive stormtroopers. We'll see if the German modern-day army can wipe them off the field, because everyone kind of deploy with a few minutes in between, and then, you know, obviously Team 1 might not be around when Team 4 or 5 or any other team after that is deployed, but we'll find out. The map is pretty big. Team 7, 8, and 9, no, sorry, 8, 9, and 10 will all deploy at the same time just to create one hell of an ending. Bit of an upset here, but we've got World War II Russia, the clones, so the Republic, and African militia. Without further ado, let's start the battle and let's see who comes out on top after this massive 10-player free-for-all mayhem. Well, team number 1 is already set in the city itself. We've got a pack 40. Some spread out German infantry as well. We have a few more hidden positions back here. They're hiding around the town. They'll also be receiving reinforcements, so there's plenty of things going on. It's going to be a pretty long battle. We also have back here... Oh, well, here come the Russians. Oh, that T-90 is going to hit a few road mines, come to a halt. And the BTR-90s that are following it are going to unload their infantry and join the fight. Oh, explosive barrels. I suppose they're fuel barrels, to be honest. That BTR-90 ran right into the arc of the Pack 40, and it's going to go down. The rest of the convoy is going to come to a halt to prevent itself from taking any further vehicular casualties. Back here we've got a mortar firing at the dismounted infantry and a Panzer IV that's going in for the kill, except it's going to go in to get killed, and that's going to be the end of that. We have even more German armor and infantry on the way. Back here we've got a King Tiger, a few half-tracks, and over here the beast, the Jagged Tiger, rolling in. This thing is seriously heavy. I do believe that this is the only tank that can actually knock out the T-90 because of its severe armor, and the T-90 and its 125mm gun is capable of just obliterating pretty much any German tank here on the field, and especially with all the modern ammunition. So it's definitely not an even playing field, but it is one hell of a mayhem, and that's really what I wanted to recreate. So we do have a few mortar shells dropping near the Russian infantry, actually causing some casualties. But in general, I do think that the German ambush has run its time, so to speak. Oh, jeez. One shot from that T-90, it's going to penetrate the King Tiger and completely implode the half-track behind it, so that's just absolutely devastating. We do have the Jagged Tiger coming up here on its front. We'll see what it can do. It could easily take out a BTR-90 if it fires, but it's not going to. Oh man, we have a lot of German infantry kind of just spreading around, and the more modern Russian infantry is also just securing the rest of the city now. This pack crew has been entirely torched. Molotovs are being used quite freely. One BTR-90 is on a little bit of a spree there. It's going to be ramming half-tracks and doing all kinds of naughty things. Let's look to this side. All quiet here on this flank. How's it looking up here? No more German reinforcements are arriving, so it's looking pretty calm. So the Russians are asserting their positions. They have definitely knocked out team number 1. I do believe team number 1 is entirely knocked out. There might be a few Germans running around the field. We'll have to look later. We might even pause to have a look at it. But team 2, the Russians, or to be exact, the modern-day Russians, are in the lead right now as they hold their ground. We'll see if they can get some repairs going so that they can move their T-90. Other than that, they've lost one other BTR-90, and I do believe these two are fully functional, so that's quite good. Here we go. Team 3 is entering the field. We've got Strikers and Bradleys coming in. This would be the U.S. Army Rangers. They're going to be dismounting their infantry. So these Rangers are better equipped and have better training than the somewhat irregular Russian ground forces you're currently seeing. I do love the uniforms, though, and the mix of weaponry. It is quite cool. There comes that Bradley. It's taking some of that BTR-90 fire. It's going to throw away a rocket, which is going to take out... Oh, yes, it did take out the BTR-90 there, but unfortunately it went down. So that was a little sloppy, to be honest. I've never seen such poor performance, but once you hit that start button, and once you actually hit that record button, you're going to get a different result every single time. What is this? German infantry. Okay. Counterattacking. They are counterattacking. So they weren't defeated. They were just pushed back. But I think that... Oh, look. They're nicely hidden in the bushes. So that's what they were up to before. I thought they were gone entirely, but they were just in hiatus, hiding in the bushes. And now that the U.S. Rangers attacked, they thought, hey, we've got the chance to go now. So they took it. But unfortunately, the U.S. Army distraction wasn't enough for them to regain their ground and their position as king of the hill, which the modern-day Russian army still have. They are indeed king of the hill. Is that a mortar? No, there's no signs of any German presence in the town itself right now. And honestly, that was a big bummer to see that Bradley go down that early. I don't think that's all the U.S. Army Rangers have to give. They definitely have more. Can you hear that? Oh, jeez. Here comes the Empire. 2 walkers coming down. We also have some Imperial transports coming down the center of the city as well. Transporting their stormtroopers nicely. They're going to be running into Russian infantry. Actually, they're going to be running into the German World War II infantry first. Now, this is an interesting exchange of fire. Blizzard Force stormtroopers up against German World War II infantry. Oh man, what a clash. I think the Russians back there are happy to find out that they're not going to be the main target. Here comes the second wave of American reinforcements. Their first wave was a little thin, so to speak, so I'm glad to see that they're finally getting another wave of reinforcements. That Striker's going to go down, but the Abrams tank back here is going to be delivering some serious damage at long range. So none of the Russian vehicles seem to be putting up a fight right now. Let's look at the walkers. Oh, man. That's one down to the Abrams. That T-90 is still active. Oh, what a beautiful shot. Right through the building. And it took out the BTR-90. But the T-90 is still active. I'm certain of it. It's not moving, though. So I'll retract my statement. There's a lot of things going on right now. We're not going to take a look at the minimap just yet, because I do enjoy not really knowing what's going on entirely. But to summarize it, we have the Stormtroopers over here on this side, the Blizzard Force, occupying this area right here. They're not really spread out, so they're kind of pushed in. Still, the king of the hill seems to be the Russian ground forces here, the modern-day Russians. They're still holding the area quite nicely. They've lost all their armor support. I must say, entirely. They don't have a single vehicle left over, but they've been here for a while now. And that T-90 is definitely passé. But the Abrams still seems to find it a target, so it's aiming at it quite focused. But we'll see if it actually finishes it off and fires a shell to send it into oblivion. But not entirely sure. Nope, there we go. It lost and dropped focus of it, so it's going to focus on the Russian infantry instead. It's going to team up with the Imperial Stormtroopers back here and wreak some havoc. I spot some new guests there in the distance. It would indeed be Team 5, I suppose. The rebels, your generic Eastern European rebels, here to rape and pillage. I mean, they could be Western European too, but just because of their weaponry and choice of vehicles, I would say that they are Eastern European vehicles. Good pronunciation, Diplex. You never know when I'm gonna go Diplex on you. Just completely butcher a word like it's a filet mignon. Anyway, looks like the Stormtroopers will be the first to greet the recently arrived rebels. Perhaps these Stormtroopers are confusing these rebels with the actual Star Wars rebels, which is why they might show such hatred towards them. Little do they realize that the AK-47s and BMPs are actually quite dangerous. And it looks like they're pushing the Blizzard Force back. We'll see if they can push them out of existence, or if they'll have a stay and presence on this battlefield for a longer time. U.S. Army Rangers, you aren't alive here, but you're over here. You've got a striker, which isn't bad. You've got your infantry, your variety. You've got some AT, some machine guns. You stand a chance. They do. We'll see if they can improve their standings now over time. The rebels are doing great right now. Honestly, the 2 walkers being removed quite early on, and especially seeing as the Abrams tank is down. I wonder how it went down. Was it hit by a rocket? The BMP-1 here, or whatever this is nasty, for sure. This rocket up top, actually they've got 2 of them, so yes. Quite capable of taking out lots of armor, and now they're going to be aiming down on the remaining bits here of the U.S. Army Rangers. We'll see if they can pull out some AT Force or something like that to knock him out. Here we go. We've got AT infantry here. I think now would be a good time to whip that AT-4 up. But I don't know. The motivation level doesn't seem to be on top. They're still here. They're still fighting. The rest of the rebel infantry is just slowly making their way to the center of the city. Oh, and here come the actual rebels that the Blizzard Force was more probably interested in killing. Unfortunately, they've exhausted themselves and retreated up here to the forest line. We'll see if the Blizzard Force gets a second wind later on and pushes down. We'll have to find out. Time will tell. That's my main motto. Time will always tell. Time will always tell. And my accent will constantly change. Oh boy. We'll see if the rebels can counter the eastern armor there. They're just roaming around like a gang. This is some gang shit right here. They don't care about the infantry. Now they're taking blaster fire in return here, but I'm not sure it's enough to actually knock it out. They do have rockets and bazookas, but remove kebab, remove rebel. That's what these guys are doing right now. Oh man, rockets and you name it. Well, how's it looking with the original Russian ground forces? I'm telling you, you'd be surprised to know how well some people can survive. Look at that. There's got to be some people around here that have survived for a very long time. I've witnessed it before during my countless test runs, but never have I seen the US go out so early. I mean, there's technically another... Okay, so the African faction, I wanted to do like 2 Russian factions, 2 German factions, 2 Star Wars factions, and then like 2 American factions. Whatever we'd need to even out the 10 numbers, okay? And give each country or nationality or whatever kind of like a fighting chance, right? So the African militia is actually Liberian militia, which makes it somewhat American, if not actually at all. God, what am I talking about? God damn it. I'm thinking of like Victoria too, when you played the States and you could like colonize or have a puppet, and Liberia would be that or whatever. Jeez, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Wow, the Russian armor is just wreaking havoc here. The Bundeswehr deployed, and they've already lost their Leopard. I'm quite disappointed because the 2 BMPs and BTR 60. Is it? No, it's a BTR 70. It's just they're owning the map. They're setting the law here. They are the law right now. Oh, look at this German storm though. Lots of German infantry approaching the center of the map. They'll be engaging the rebels for most of it, I think. There's not really any rebel infantry, I mean Star Wars rebel infantry alive. But this is the last wave before the all-out shitstorm begins. And we'll see who comes out victorious out of that one. German troops and rebel troops will definitely be alive. And when I say rebel troops now, I mean these rebels, the Star Wars rebels were just completely wiped out. That's kind of interesting. Modern warfare versus Star Wars. And I'm telling you, the tanks and weapons seem to pack a bigger punch here in Men of War than the Star Wars weapons do. So that's an interesting thought. Can you hear all that massive shitstorm coming our way? Well, it's about time. We've got clones coming in from up here. Good old 501st. We got the Red Army coming in from this way. Oh boy. And we have the African militia storming the city from this direction. I don't know how they fit into this image, but I wanted to include them. Right, we'll see if the African militia can chase out the European militia. We'll see who will remove who. Once again, German modern infantry still alive and active. There might even be a few Blizzard Force soldiers somewhere in these bushes. You never know. You'd be surprised what you can find out. The Red Army is advancing. We've got T-34s and blaster fire amidst it all. This is just actually quite insane. Oh, where did that come from? Was that ricocheting off a tank? Because there was a blue blaster going in the opposite direction of this ATST. Honestly, I'm not seeing any of these roaming bastards anymore. I think we've knocked out most of the European rebel armory or armored vehicles and assets and whatnot. So what I see right now is mostly African militia stuff right here. The good old BRDM, or BDRM, whatever it is, and the BTR-60, which is just like a funkier version of the BTR-70. Dude, they're packing up here. They're forming a pact. They're going to be roaming the field now. They're going to be balling. Oh, that was a T-34. There's also a T-60 following the ATSD, and it seems to have its aim on the ATSD, but it's not shooting. But, oh, he's keeping an eye on him. A lot of African militia opening up at the ATST. German Bundeswehr infantry back here also engaged with some African militia. I think their weaponry is far superior to the African. They're using mostly Dracos and stuff like that. You know what I mean when I say Draco? Yeah, you do. Come on, a Draco. You gotta know what that is. It's currently Draco season here in Men of War. Oh boy. Okay, we're flipping the BTR-90. It might tip onto something. Nope. This ATSD doesn't care. It's literally like a scarab. It's literally like a bug crawling about the place. Oh, it's gonna just tip the BTR-90 on its leg. Oh. That T-60 is seriously devastating. We'll see if it turns to attack some Africans. How's the Red Army doing? Quite well. Wow, the clones. Hey. 501st, you're staying so far back. What's up with that? Join the fray. Join the fun. Join the battlefield. Well, the ATSD is just positioning itself in the center as it's like, hey, I run this place now, and it just actually moved the T-60 out of the way. What is it doing? Wait, we have a little bit of an interaction here. It's being stopped and prevented from moving forward now because of the T-60, but it did nudge it a bit, so... Oh. They've got sufficient guns. Oh, look. Honestly, let's take a look at the minimap. Okay, 0 Germans alive, like World War II Germans. 0 modern-day Russians alive. 2 U.S. Army Rangers are alive. 2 U.S. Army Rangers. We have a sniper here. 4 kills, and we have another guy down here. 0 kills, but the U.S. Army Rangers are still active on the battlefield. That's glorious. 0 stormtroopers, no Blizzard Force soldiers alive. We have 2 rebels remaining. That's it. This guy and this guy. Quite separated. That's really far away. Unfortunately, no Bundeswehr. They've all died now. They've been pushed off the field. It's unfortunate for them. Actually, wait. I retract that statement. No rebels alive. Purple were the rebels, and I mean like Star Wars rebels this time around. God damn. Running out of faction names here. We have just about 3 men left here on the German side, modern German side, so they're almost out of the game. It'd be interesting if the U.S. Army Rangers could outlive like the massive swarm of German infantry plus armor that actually spawned way later than the initial U.S. Army Rangers, which, by the way, are dead now. Yes, talk about the troll. They are now KIA. Well, we've got 1 man down there and the other one over here. I wonder if they went down to the clones. Yeah, well, look, there's a clone dead right here, so I think there must have been a small exchange of fire up here, but the 501st will carry on in the American spirit. We've got a bunch of... Well, this is just pretty much the rest of the playing field. The clones are pretty packed. The African militia is quite well spread out, and the Red Army is now battling Africans from a different time. We'll see if the Soviet army can beat the African militia. Both seem to have poor trigger discipline. They're just firing into the air while reloading. Oh, some are even firing at their own soldiers. I'm not sure if that's supposed to instill courage and fear, but anyway, we're planting some dead German Bundeswehr soldiers here, adding a bit of an African touch too, so hopefully that'll grow into some nice plants soon enough. Good variety. How's it going back here? What is actually going on? So we do have the T-60. Is it still active? It is. This is like a shark and one of those tiny bacterial fishes that just eat the bacteria of the big shark, and they're just like living in symbiosis right now. They're not hurting each other. The big ATST doesn't want to eat the little T-60, and the T-60 doesn't quite want to leave the But honestly, there's a time when you just have to bite the bullet and leave. I'm going to send you that way, and I'm going to send you that way. And you guys will have to go on your separate paths. And that's just life. Live freely and be good now. We'll see if the ATST picks up the T-60 with the rear guns. They're aiming at something else. Do they even have enough crew for it? A few fucking random barrels just exploded out of nowhere. I have no idea what that was about, but the battlefield does look quite crunchy compared to what this map looked like in the start. There was 0 battlefield traces or anything like that on the map at that time, and now, well, we're starting to look at quite a lot more. Well, the ATST is... If it comes down to a vehicular fight later on, we'll have to see if the infantry can win. If there's only Russian infantry alive, then the Russians will win. But if there's clone infantry still fighting, then I suppose this will turn into an infantry battle. Oh man, there's a lot more clones than I thought. But where have you guys been hiding? You're not pushing for it. We've got a T-60 on the run. Just fighting the African militia. Right now would be a good time to nuke this shithole, but I think that would just be appropriate. Oh, he's turning around. They're fighting something else now. Where's the T-60? Came to a halt. Did we kill it? Did we destroy it? I wonder where it went. I'm not hearing its annoying little tractor engine. We could have eliminated it, and that would have been great. Because I'm sick of it. Did we make it detonate somehow? Did it get stuck doing something? Or has it just turned elsewhere for other entertainment? Who knows where it has gone, but I cannot see it anymore. Clones are moving up. We're about to have a bit of a 3-way engagement here. Clones will be attacking the Red Army and the African militia at the same time. And this giant scarab is actually making some kind of progress. I'm gonna steal you for a second and I'm gonna put you up there on the top. Actually, never mind. They cleared it automatically. That's a shame. Oh, look, it appeared out of nowhere. It's an ambush. It's an ambush. It's an ambush. Look at it. It came out of nowhere just to shoot at it. I guarantee you it's got what it takes. Let's back this annoying little thing up. Oh boy, we're about to get stepped on. I couldn't see it forever. And then it appeared, firing. Our shields. Can you do that again? Does it do anything to us? No. We could fire forever and it wouldn't do anything. Okay, for the sake of the battle, let's dismount you. And let's dismount you. Let's duke it out. Okay, listen, Russians. Okay? Hey! We might have actually caused sufficient damage to it. Because it's actually crying out loud right now. Anyway. This is what it stands like right now. We've got these clones. We've got these Africans. And we only have... How many Soviets? Very few. About 8 in total, to be exact. So it's going to come down to the African militia and the clones. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But it's interesting to see that we still had Eastern rebels and, or like European, normal human rebels, not like the Star Wars rebels. And also, of course, the 2 US Army Rangers surviving. I want to make another free-for-all, and I want to deploy everyone at the same time. This was just a crazy, like, layered battle with waves and waves. It's not, like, fair to say that Germany, World War II Germany, or just modern day Russia, or even the US Army and the, say, what the hell, the Blizzard Force that arrived from wave 1 to 4, right? It'd be unfair to say and expect for them to be alive at the end of, like, round 10 when all of these guys deployed, because simply they'd be facing too much firepower. So deploying everyone at the same time is a better way to measure that, but then again, then it wouldn't have this kind of fun. Can you stop? Can you be quiet? I'll teach you. I'll teach you. Yeah? I'll teach you. That didn't destroy you. Okay. Carry on whining then. Whatever. Let's let the rest of the battle play out. We've got a big winner to crown here. Once again, they're firing at each other. What's the reason for that? I don't understand. He almost tried to shoot his friend's head off. I cannot see the motivation behind it, but the African militia has recently been very aggressive internally. They've been focusing their aggressions internally, as I just said, instead of externally at the enemy. So you never know, your head might just go. There we go, Soviet soldier falls. They're doing quite well. Let's take a look at the minimap. Let's enhance it. Enhance it so we can see what's going on. We've got a pretty distinct difference here. We've got these rebels on this side, which make up about a squad, and they're all actually heading for the center, so I don't need to do much. Pause. I'm gonna switch to the Rossiyskaya, the Red Army. You are also gonna get in on the fun. Then what's this back here? Is this a lone rebel? If it isn't a bloody lone-ass rebel. Running about the mountains. Come on. Get into the fight. What do we have back up here? Is this a clone? Lame. Why be a clone and be all the way up here? Stupid. Send them all in. Let's have them duke it out. Come on, the 501st. Well-trained clones, battle-hardened versus, well, African militia. Who knows what they're on? But I'm not saying they're necessarily on something. I'm just saying they're fighting quite well. One could presume that they're, you know, they've got some voodoo shaman tricks going on. Whatever works for them, I applaud it because it definitely is working. They're gunning down clones by the dozens here. They've reduced their numbers quite heavily. This is a real gang. Some severe warriors right there. We have a few more Soviet soldiers charging in. This might be the last two. Decimated to nothing. But yeah, that eliminates the other faction. What's left now? We've got the European rebel. Where is he? Has he charged in yet and died? Or is he still alive? He's not alive. It's literally these clones versus these rebels. And the rebels are still going for it. Brave. Brave men. Do it. Okay, let's take the clones. It's the clones' time to attack now. Yes, let's carry on the assault. Wouldn't be the same without a whining fucking alarm in the background, would it? Damn it. Come on. Sorry about the swearing. Just frustrating. Long night, once again. I haven't slept yet. It's 3:30 p.m., but at least once I do sleep, I'll have a good schedule. Oh, the 501st is doing work right now. So what became a slightly slow burning end here. Kind of a slow end, you know, kind of burned out slowly. No one went out with a real bang. More of a psst, more of a vzz. I'd want to nuke the map, but it's not going to make anything better for anyone. Let's take a look at casualties. Let's just do that. Let's just zoom out. I'm going to go ahead and unclip that camera position. Right, so German World War II casualties in yellow. Not many remaining, not even bodies, right? Modern day Russian army just spread out all over the place. Lost a lot here fighting the rest of the Germans, I suppose. It was quite good for the Germans, to be honest. Even some out here. They were quite spread out. US Army Rangers. They're not even on the field. How does that make any sense? It doesn't. Where the hell are their bodies? They're oh, what? No, wait a minute. That's Blizzard Force. Number 2 was US Army Rangers. I missed them. Well, that makes sense. Blizzard Force, mostly around here where they were transported to. The walkers didn't do a lot of damage, to be honest. Unreliable freaking walking things. No. Unreliable. 4, the rebels. Or 5, actually, the rebels. They're just spread out. The other rebels, the real rebels, I suppose, didn't make much of an impact. Just died. Bundeswehr. All really, 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 really grouped. Dead. Clones. Few casualties. African militia quite spread out. And the Red Army. That's it. Let's just end this video with this wine. We can conclude that the clone army has won. Do they deserve it? Hell no. They came in the end superior to both the Soviet army and, of course, the African militia. But on the other hand, their other Star Wars allies, so to speak, like the Stormtroopers and the Rebels, were utterly slaughtered anyway, so it's good to see something come out on top from their kind of era. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this utterly chaotic battle, and I'll see you guys soon again. Ciao. Thank you.